So I'm autistic, and in addition to being autistic, I didn't have the best social development because my parents essentially kept me away from the world. Like, they homeschooled me until I was like basically 12. And even then, I didn't spend more than a few years in school before I was homeschooled again, got put back in school the following year, and then just dropped out. So I did not have those formative experiences with my peers that would lead to healthy social development. I was merely exposed to the near dictatorial control of my parents, assuming that I would actually get to interact with them, which was up in the air given how much they would fight with one another. And so, I'm in the state that I'm in today where in addition to having autism, I don't exactly know how to socialize, even to the extent that like a lot of other autistic people do. I mean, there were certain intuitive things that were really, really hard for me to grasp that I ended up just being forced to grasp due to the rural and socially cohesive nature of where I grew up. But that wasn't so much from interacting with those local people as much as it was from being punished so many times by my parents for not being able to follow on these basic tenets of social interaction. They were really just violently imposed on me. And so eventually I came to have to get it. But that was no easy task. And pretty much all of the like real friends that I've made, friends that I ended up meeting in person and spending time with in person on a regular basis have been from the internet, because on the internet it's a lot easier to consider what you're saying. It's a lot easier to not be overly conscious of what you're saying, because autism makes interacting difficult in the sense that a lot of the incommunicatable standards, a lot of the nonverbal standards are not made known to you, and that can be a cause for awkwardness. But that's only one part of the story. When you were treated the way that I was for being autistic, you're not just awkward in these kind of like basic ways that if you were around nice people you could kind of scoot by or get over. Um, you become chronically anxious about all of your awkward aspects because of how often you were punished for them. And oftentimes, when you're forced to guess to the extent that I was, and then punished for the guesses that you make, it makes like trying to have any intuitions about socialization really difficult. And then the main answer to the problem simply becomes leaving. It's a flight response, which is, what I have to a lot of social situations. I simply leave. I don't engage. And it's really stifled my growth, but it feels like, kind of a logical response when I have such a physical fear response to being around other people. Even to the point where like I'm terrified simply to go to the store, because I don't want to have any kind of interaction with other people. Um, it's deeply physically painful for me, because that is how I have been trained to feel about it and to see it by my parents and by the world. When you get punished so much for things that are just natural to you, that is how you respond. Um, but the only like real friends I've had have basically just been from the internet. And those tend to be other autistic people, who, which makes them easier to interact with. I have had very few neurotypical friends from the internet, or just in general. I, I still don't really know how to talk to neurotypical people. Um, and the neurotypical people I do talk to and I'm on good terms with tend to be pretty academic as people. Like they have like they don't have special interests the way that I do, but they have academic interests. And having an academic mindset is like basically psyching yourself into being autistic on some level. Like we're kind of just better suited for those fields. Um, and so I talk to those people because I'm able to talk to them about something really specific, and then they end up feeling like impressed with my ability to recall all this information and put it together. Um, and because they have an appreciation for those topics, we're able to kind of to have a conversation, but strictly within those parameters. Um, but I feel my social skills, to the extent that I even have them, the few that I have, I feel them waning. And I'm not entirely sure why. I mean, I feel like every time I spend time in the house for like a month, literally all of the progress I made over like several months, going outside every day and trying to interact with people at least somewhat, all the progress I made just disintegrates. It vanishes into thin air. And I don't know why. Um, I don't know if it's because it doesn't get solidified in my mind in a long term way. There's not like real longevity to that stuff. It's more so just a matter of habits that I'm able to recall in the short term. Whatever it is, it's a deeply demotivating thing because, um, it happens, and then I begin to think, like, well, what were all of those months even for? If, I've, I've just already forgotten all this stuff. Um, and even with talking to people online, where talking to people online is a lot easier because you're much more likely to have common interests, and interests are extremely important to me to be able to have things to say. You're much more likely to engage and not be scared of the engagement because there's no potential physical repercussions. It's a lot easier to flee over the internet, um, and thereby making it a suitable alternative to the in person contact that you may struggle with. Um, but now I'm even struggling with this because as I tried to expound upon in my video simply titled Lonely, um, the more time that I've spent with my significant other, the less time I've spent talking to my friends and interacting on a consistent basis with my friends. And the more that time has gone on, the better I've gotten with interacting with her and kind of understanding her, um, putting all my energy, all my social energy that is, into her, and and like I don't know, like getting better at that and taking note of all of her intricacies and stuff. It seems like the worst I've gotten at interacting with my friends. Like I try to interact with them, when I do have like a slither of energy to be able to interact with them. And I feel like I'm struggling to do so. I'm struggling to know what to say, to have anything to say. I'm struggling to respond, to muster the energy to talk to them. I'm forgetting how to talk to them. Like, it feels like I literally do not remember how to talk to them, which is an interesting experience to say the least. So what exactly, if anything, do you think I should do about this? I honestly don't know. Um, because, yeah, I mean, I only have, like, limited energy reserves, depending on the day. I mean, I literally have, like, a social battery. You know, the battery is charged to a certain extent based on how much time I spend by myself. I go interact with people. The battery gets depleted. If I'm spending all my time with one person, you know, it gets depleted. There's not any juice left for other people. I don't know how other people do it. I don't know how I used to be able to do it. I mean, I know how to because when I used to be more social than I am now, um, it felt like it was like actively like ripping away at me and making me depressed, but I just kind of did it anyway because I, um, I was so chronically understimulated and alienated from time spent alone with my own thoughts that I kind of turned interactions into white noise for myself, and that wasn't really the same as interacting with people on a human level. That's neither here nor there. Yeah, I mean, I just don't know what to do. I just don't know what to do, and you know, I don't know. Like I've been so depressed lately. Like I feel like I made that video kind of trying to ask for new friends or for new people to become my friends, and like two people friended me, and I don't know. I get this like vague sense that a lot of people don't like me, and you know that's okay. I've got certain people who do like me, but I just get this vague sense that you know there's like a lot of people in the world don't like me or have it out for me, and you know there's not even much I can do to fix that because it feels like I don't even know the first thing about interacting with others or how to make friends or how to maintain friends. I don't even know the first thing about any of that. I don't understand any of this. None of this makes any sense to me. It doesn't make any sense to me whatsoever. I wonder if I can play with my hair. Can I make it like poofy? It looks kind of poofy today. Yo, it is poofy. I should have been wearing it like this the whole time. I look like kind of like a shoegaze guitarist, right? Kinda? Kinda? Yeah, this is epic. Okay, that's the YouTube video.